Brought to you by Penguin Random House Canada.
Frankie by J.M. Gutsch and Maxim Leo. Read by Matthew Biddulph. What makes life so difficult? People. An affair to remember. Chapter 1. The Piece of String. I've been told you should always tell a story starting from the top, or the beginning. But being a tomcat, I know nothing of tops or beginnings. Humans have all sorts of rules for how life should be. They'll order you about, do this, do that. Sounds like a bit of a drag if you ask me. Too much like hard work, and hard work has never been my style. So, I'm going to start any old where. It might just happen to be the top, or the beginning. It was the nice time of the year, and by that I mean the time when the evenings were warm and long and bees were buzzing in the lime trees. On one of those evenings, I decided to pop over to the professor's. I'll tell you more about who the professor is later. He doesn't make an appearance in our story for a while. There I am, trotting along the big road that goes through the middle of the village, past the lake where the grass is high and I stop to eat a few grasshoppers. Do you know what I love about grasshoppers? They never complain when you eat them. Not like birds. Birds always make such a fuss. "Oh, don't eat me, I'm a mother with 10 babies in the nest," they'll cry. So over the top. But it catches me out every time, old muggins that I am. Really puts a dampener on your appetite. I'm left standing there with a mouthful of bird and, for a moment or two, a guilty conscience. And then the moment passes. So, on I go, past the village church, past the ramshackle birdhouse, past Fatty Hines, the Rottweiler's vile-smelling pea, past 2 compost heaps with nothing decent to eat on them, not even anything halfway decent, just coffee grounds, eggshells, potato skins and apple peel. Humans, let me clue you in on a little secret. A compost heap made of nothing but peel makes you look cheap. On I go, past the big sandhill just before the wood begins and beyond which the world ends. I'm in good spirits, strutting along all cool and calm in the evening light. When I get to an old wooden fence, I slip through it and into the garden of the deserted house. Everyone calls it the deserted house because one day the people from the city who used to spend every summer there stopped coming. All the windows are closed and the curtains drawn, and in winter the wind howls all around the house. Fatty Hines, who's a certified moron, by the way, has heard the noise and thinks there's a pack of werewolves living there. But something odd is afoot. I'm nearly past the deserted house when I spot a man inside the house. Utterly spooked, I crouch behind a bush and hide. Talk about getting the heebie-jeebies. While I'm sat there, another thought crosses my mind. Well, shit, Frankie. What happens now? I'm tempted to run straight back home and tell everyone I know the big news. But I also know the inevitable inquisition that would follow. What did the man look like, Frankie? What did the man smell like, Frankie? What's the food like at the man's place, Frankie? Are you quite sure it wasn't a werewolf, Frankie? When an empty house is suddenly no longer empty, all sorts of questions bubble to the surface. Everyone wants to know more, and if you can't give them any details, you're the one who ends up looking stupid. So, I do what any tomcat worth his salt would do in these trying circumstances. I stay put, and I peer out from behind my bush. Listening. Looking. Listening. Looking. This went on for quite a while, so I'm giving you the abridged version. Listening. Looking. And so on. Then I creep closer ever so softly, and when I'm within a few cat's tails of the big window, I peer in and begin to gather clues. Clue 1. There really is a man in there. Clue 2. The man is standing on a chair. Clue 3. There is a string hanging from the ceiling. Clue 4. The man is wearing the string around his neck. Clue 5. Further to clue 4. The string is very thick. No kidding, I've never seen such a whopper. I'm a string connoisseur, you see, so I would know. And I'm telling you, this string was the bee's knees. When I lived with old Mrs. Berkowitz, we used to play with the stuff nearly every day. There was never a human on the end of it, though. Only a mouse sometimes. Not a real one, of course, just a woolly one. Humans seem to think we cats are fooled by this, but for the record, we're not. We're not stupid. So when I see this beauty, I'm suddenly reminded of old Mrs. Berkowitz and the best time of my life, which sadly didn't last very long. It ended when, one day, old Mrs. Berkowitz lay down abruptly in the garden, and 2 men arrived soon after, all in white, bundling her into a big car with flashing lights on the roof. I never saw her again after that. Remembering all this gives me a funny sort of ache in my heart, and I'm tempted to call out to the man, "Hey, you there, playing with the string. That's a beautiful specimen. Can I play too?" But I know I mustn't say anything. Instead, I pluck up all my courage, jump onto the window ledge, and peer inside. The man is standing on a chair with the string around his neck. Then he sees me and looks surprised. He certainly doesn't seem pleased to see me. He actually seems rather angry. He opens and closes his mouth like a carp saying something to me, but I can't make out what because, to state the obvious, he's behind the window pane and I'm in front of it. So, instead, I start my blinking routine. Humans, here's another hot tip. When a cat blinks, it's a bit like smiling. Blinking translates as, "Hey there, amigo, everything's cool. I'm good, you're good, what's up?" I'm blinking manically at the man through the window, but he seems to have about as many brain cells to rub together as Fatty Hines, and doesn't catch my drift. Instead, he waves his arms around in my general direction. I raise my right paw to say, "Hey, no worries, I understand." I know better than most that it's easy to get carried away when you're playing with string. Though, to be honest, the whole arm-waving business looked a little odd. I lick my privates for a bit to calm my frazzled nerves. What happens next happens quickly. The man lets go of his string and jumps down off the chair, and within seconds, the door of the deserted house flies open. He reaches for an object of some sort and hurls it at me. I skedaddle, but I'm in shock and my legs go all wobbly. I see a shadow approaching. Something's chasing after me and pounces on my head. I don't remember anything else after that. The next thing I know, the wind is whispering something to me. I strain to listen but can't make out what it's saying. I'm lying on the lawn in front of the deserted house, worn out and motionless. I can hardly open my eyes. And the wind keeps on whispering until I realise it isn't the wind after all. It's the man bending over and speaking to me. He nudges me with his foot, as if I'm a dead rat or something. "You all right?" he asks. It's a rather stupid question if you ask me, seeing as how I'm very obviously not all right. I'm so exhausted that I fall right back to sleep. When I come around again, I don't know where I am at first. I'm feeling rather woozy, and I peer around warily. Then I spot that marvellous string hanging from the ceiling, and my memories come flooding back to me. I'm inside the deserted house, on a couch to be precise, with a newspaper spread under me and the man now sitting opposite me in an armchair. He's holding a tiny telephone to his ear and is talking agitatedly to someone. I might have no idea who he's talking to, but I can tell you what he's talking about. Yours truly. Speaking into his telephone, the man says, "I've got a dead cat here. Can you drop by?" "Yes, she really does look very dead. But look, I'm no vet, so that's why I'm calling." "No, she's not my cat. I've no clue who it belongs to." "What does the cat look like?" "What does that matter? It's a cat. Grey tabby coat, a bit mangy, with a lump out of one of its ears." "No, I don't know how she died. Yes, I found the cat in my garden. Listen. Okay, my address is... No, the cat... Tomcat, I slur. That was obviously a bad move. The professor, who you'll meet later, is always saying I should be a little savvier, more tactful, or else I'll get myself into trouble one day. But I was feeling pretty peeved, to be honest. First, I'm nearly clobbered to death. Then, to add insult to injury, this human keeps referring to me as a molly, even though I'm clearly a full.
Sample complete. Ready to continue?